The views expressed on this podcast by myself or my guests may not represent the views of the studios that we work for. Game Design with Joe Method, Episode 2. Hey guys, how's it going? I got a great interview with Tamar Zeithlian. She is the technical art director at Wemo Media, and we sat down and talked about her experience in the game industry, and she has some good advice for people who want to get in the game industry and whatnot. So I have that coming up for you. But first, let me go through a couple of tweets that I did of some game design tips and try to clarify them a little more on my Twitter account, which is twitter.com/JoeMethod. So I have one. If you can't, game design tip of the day, if you can't get emotionally invested in a story, there's no way you can get your players to do the same. So what I mean by that is you can't really get players to feel an emotion that you don't intentionally have in there, that you don't premeditate. If you as a designer, you can't really feel the action or the fun or the storyline. If you're not feeling it for yourself, there's no way a player's gonna go ahead and fill in the blanks for you and kind of take on the role of, all right, I know what this character's feeling. I know what this character's feeling. I'm emotionally invested in it. You as a designer, you have to feel the story for yourself. You have to feel the angst. You have to feel the heartbreak. You have to feel the adventure or the impending doom, because you have to feel it in order to kind of pass it along. You need to internalize it, and you need to feel it for yourself before you can make other people feel it. So if that feeling doesn't exist in you, if you don't have that that sense of suspense and doom or love or anything or loss or anything like that, if you're not feeling that, there's no way you can get another person to feel that. What's another tip I have? Without engagement, there can be no fun. Without a clear goal, there can be no engagement. So what I mean by that is, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but you really can't have fun without engagement. I've never done anything that I wasn't focused on that I had fun with. You can only have fun when you are paying attention to something. If there was a baseball game going on in the background, there's no way I'm going to turn around and then start having fun automatically if I don't know everything that preceded it. Or like, all right, there's 2 outs. This team is down by whatever. This is a playoff game. If I didn't care about it, there's no way I could have fun watching it. I can't just go, watch a cricket game. I don't even know what cricket is. I don't even know if they have games on TV, but I can't just go and start watching a cricket game and have fun because I don't care about the teams, or I don't know the rules. I don't even know. I think it's the same as baseball. I'm not sure. But there's no way you can have fun without being engaged, without caring first. You have to care about something before you can have fun. I can't walk in and start watching Days of Our Lives halfway through an episode and start having fun and start, because I don't care about it. Yeah, I don't know what happened before, and then without a clear goal, there can be no engagement, right? And then you can't care about something unless you know what they're doing. I can't care about I can't care about Days of Our Lives if I don't know that her husband was cheating on her and her sister was getting married, but then the 2 husbands are cheating on the same stripper or whatever. If I knew that, then I could care, and then if I care, then I could go ahead and start having fun. Then there's tension to be broken. So you need to care before you can have fun, and the only way to care is to know what's going on, to know what's at stake. I can't care about a baseball game unless I know the rules, unless I know how to win, unless I know that there's a playoffs, and unless I know how good my team is versus the other team, how good they are. If the other team has a better record than my team, then it's like, oh shoot, they might not win. So now I have to, I really want to see what happens because they might not beat the Yankees or whatever. So, and if I didn't know, how to win the game or how important the game was. There's no way I could care. And then when I care, when you focus on something, when you're emotionally invested, that's when you can start having fun. So that's what I mean when I say without engagement, there can be no fun. Without a clear goal, there can be no engagement. Yeah, so let me do another one. You can get a lot done from the time you get home from work to the time you go to bed. And that's true. I mean, it really, when you're doing an indie game, it really is up to your schedule. And there's a good like 3-4 hours from the time you get home from work from the time you go to bed. And you could get a lot done. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot. You might be able to import, export a few assets, or get a little bit of level design done, or get some stuff written down in your document. But it adds up, times 5 days a week. That really does add up. And then if you get to meet your fellow indie developers on the weekend, you could get a lot more done. But it might 1 or 2 hours a night does seem like a little, but you add it up, times 5, that's, you end up working 40 hours a month or something, and that, that's definitely better than nothing. So yeah, you could be amazed how much you could get done after work. Alright, so I hope those tips helped you out. You can find those on twitter.com/JoeMethod. I will be explaining, because I only have so many characters per tweet, so I will be explaining them further in these podcasts. And if you want anyone in particular you want me to explain, just go ahead and send me a tweet at twitter.com/JoeMethod, or ask me a question at formspring.me/JoeMethod, and I will be sure to get back to you. So now here's my interview with Tamar. Enjoy it. Hi, I am here in Los Angeles, California with Tamar Zeithlian. Is that pronounced right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And what is your exact title right now, Tamar?
So right now, I am a technical art director at a new indie company called Wemo Media. We are working on pretty much the ultimate screensaver. The theme is the ocean on the web, and okay. It's packaged in a screensaver format. So because the main focus on it is for you to enjoy and have a relaxing experience while you're watching these fish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's art on the ocean art.
And how did you get to that point where you became the technical art director?
So it was actually definitely through connections. Let's say. Let's see. The CEO of Wemo Media was my boss back at EA. So I worked with him on the cinematics at EA, and so he contacted me afterwards when he was starting this project, and he was looking for a designer that's going to help give some feedback, and also with the art pipeline. It's pretty important for this project because one of the main things we're doing is we're reaching out to artists online to submit content into the Blue. Oh, so okay. It's I'm kind of setting. He hired me so I could set that whole pipeline, and also any sort of design feedback if there's necessary.
Right, and so this is not like a real game though, right? That you're developing out there.
No, it started off as a game. It was
interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of it is pretty interesting because it first started off as a kind of pretty much like a ocean sim kind of thing. So it's kind of like Sims, not exactly like Sims where they have lives and jobs or anything like that, but Sims in a sense where there's a simulation and they have and each fish would recognize each other, and if you were to place certain types of coral or whatnot, they would actually go and start feeding in that area. So you're kind of affecting the simulation by adding and removing objects and props and whatnot. And that was pretty much the only gamey part of it. Most of it was still watching this beautiful art. Okay. So then after that, you kind of go through development and you do some play testing and you see what works and what doesn't work. And we decided to we noticed that the product we were making was more like a screensaver than it was. It was better as a screensaver than it was as a game. It was much easier for people to understand and much easier for them to know what they're supposed to do with it. Okay. When it's it's like screensaver. You leave it on, you watch it. You add more fish.
All right, that's cool. And how did you get started? You started in the game industry, right? You weren't anything before professionally?
No, it was straight up. Yeah, when I was in high school, I knew immediately. I was like, I want to work on games. So then I got lucky enough to find the Art Institute in Santa Monica, where Joe went as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then I learned from there, and I was fortunate enough to have teachers like Nick Marks and Andy Clayton and whatnot, and they got me more hookups to start getting internships in the industry. So it was just straight up from school straight into the industry, and then just moving up from there.
That's cool. And you were already working. You didn't wait to graduate. You had already worked in the game industry while you're going to school, right?
Yeah, as an intern in several places actually, and varying from design to art. Like I did a destruction. I was a destruction artist. That's what they called us, which was pretty much take models that were already made and break them up, and then hook it up in the simulation to where they would explode when someone shot it or when a bomb went off by it. And that was pretty fun because you can make things blow up.
Yeah.
I was just interning doing kind of like pitch documents and like feasibility of like how the item, like the product can sell. It was like this I don't know how to explain it because it was the company I was working for. Let me see if I can remember their name now.
Was it the Silent Hill game?
No, Silent Hill game. I was interning there as well. I was interning there as a production assistant, and also on this like PS3 demo. So it was like design, production assistant. I was there because at the time, like I knew Unreal. So Unreal 3 was just new. It just came out, and companies were implementing into their pipeline. So it's like, I came in as an intern who just happens to know Unreal enough to be able to actually like set a level up within like a couple days or something. So then they just like threw everything at me.
That's cool. And so you do that for your 2 internships.
In general, yeah. It would always lean more towards the technical arts side than and technical design. So it's just like I did design, but it was never on the side of like gameplay or user experience. It was always more on the side of just setting up a simulation or make sure things work and stuff.
Okay. So so when you started working, I guess the working on the PSP game was your first experience professionally?
That'd be my first. As far as like actually having a product that comes out, actually to be honest, that game, the one I was working on, the parts I was working on, I don't think ever came out. Like what happened to that project was, Climax had to deal with Konami to make Silent Hill game for the PSP.
Right.
And it wasn't doing so well. It wasn't hitting the milestones, so they were about to pull it.
Oh.
And what they did was Climax was still able to keep it, but the studios in UK were working on it. So it's like, and I think they use a different engine too afterwards.
Oh.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was pretty insane.
Oh, so everything that was being worked on in California was cut.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
You never played it? You never bought it?
I played maybe someone had it and I was able to at least toy around and be like, oh cool, here's the product, I worked on it.
Oh yeah.
Kind of thing. That part was pretty fun. And before that, I was working on True Crime New York.
Oh, you're on
Lux.
Oh, I didn't know you were.
Yeah, that's where I was instruction artist for that. I would say that's my very first industry experience. We had to work on the PS2, so it was really, I had a lot of experience in just trying to make sure that all the content I had would fit under 20 kilobytes or something like that.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. And so when you first started, so I guess True Crime was your very first experience. When you first started working on True Crime, was there anything that surprised you about working in the game industry that you didn't expect, or?
Yeah, working as an artist. That really surprised me. I thought I was going to be a lot more creative and actually, have a bit more fun with making art, but I ended up being more like an environment artist.
Okay.
And True Crime was a city, so there's a bunch of buildings everywhere. So all you're making is buildings. Yeah. And at that point, I was trying to decide whether I'm going to be doing design or if I'm going to be doing art. Mm-hmm. And so, at least from what I learned, I learned more in my own abilities than I did exactly out of the game industry itself. I think Most of the stuff I wasn't so surprised on, just because Nick was there and he was just telling us how it is,
Right.
kind of thing. And it was very similar to Game Wizards, the production team we had at school.
Okay.
So it was actually surprisingly wasn't that big of a difference. The only I would say the one thing that I did learn is just the business side of it, the corporate side of it, like
the producers.
Yeah, the producer side of it, like the production side of it. Yeah, exactly, because deadlines really, really, really matter this time.
Yeah. Yeah, just do it the first week of next quarter, turn it in. Yeah.
So you start seeing like their motivation techniques and the way they schedule things and like what gets prioritized and whatnot. Like you start seeing that because you don't get that in school, because in school everyone is just helping each other and just work on a project, and if it doesn't happen, it's okay. We're still gonna pass because we at least it doesn't look like ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of works. Yeah, I mean you're not making a product that anyone's actually gonna play. But I guess in that case you're gonna be making something that potentially millions of people are gonna be playing. So it's got to be it's got to be really
good. It's all the marketing money has been put into it.
Yeah.
Companies like negative budget. You got to save its ass kind of situation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's always weird. They always go under budget, over budget. So once you were done with so you graduated and you were already working in the industry, or did you have any time off?
Oh no, I didn't. That's one thing I'm gonna say I regretted, because I did not take absolutely. I was interning at EA during my last year, and immediately after that I was just hired on. I was hired part time hired, and then when I was able to do full time, then they hired me on full time. Mm-hmm. So absolutely no break. But at the time, I was just like, hey, this video game is fun. I don't need breaks. Screw this.
I don't need breaks. Yeah. Yeah, so you worked just straight in the industry without any like vacations or anything.
No, and one vacation that I did take, maybe was it 4 years in. So after EA, I went to Isopod Labs, and I was a producer there. So at EA, I was a technical designer, working with Unreal, setting up cinematics, and in Isopod Labs, I became a producer, managing the schedule, and also doing some technical art stuff like weapon scripting. That's also designer related. Right. Weapon scripting, effects, stuff like that. Just because I was technically inclined, so I'd be able to.
Yeah.
It was a pretty small team, so everyone's like wearing multiple hats.
Yeah.
But after that, but I didn't really take a break. I ended up working for my dad.
Okay, and he works in the game industry.
No. No, I mean I just didn't take a break from working. I did take a break from the game industry, and I did bread for like 6 months. Like flatbread. So my dad owns a flatbread company.
Oh,
so I did that for 6 months, but it was pretty good. It was really good production experience, I would say, because I got way better in Excel. I got way better in just setting up real quick comps of like designs or images or stuff like that, because I would be doing website stuff for him and whatnot. So it was kind of cool. I got like a nice general tool set in my brain of just IT and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then I started getting overloaded with work there. And then financially, like my dad at that time wasn't doing so well, so I was like, okay, I'll go back to the game industry. I got lucky. I was at like this party. I think it was a going away party for a friend, and one of my friends, I think you know Chris Hans.
I've heard. I've heard of him.
Okay, so one of my friends, he was working at Game Mechanics, and he's like, hey, we're looking for a designer. You want a job? And I was like, oh, sure. It's like within the week after I decided I was gonna leave, a job offer like came up like that. It was so convenient.
That's cool. So did you work on that High Flyer game, the one where you? Oh,
I did not. I left right before.
Okay.
And that's where I went on to Wemo. So I was working Game Mechanics for a year, and the next year after that, so January 2011 was when they were starting to work on the High Flyer. But that's when I moved on to the Blue.
Okay.
So from there, I went as a technical designer position to a technical art director.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, this project's pretty cool. I'm gonna be learning a lot. So it's like I can't pass this opportunity up. So I jumped on that.
So the common theme is just you kind of gravitate more towards the technical design over everything else. Like, you just like figuring out how things are done, or
problem solving. Like it's kind of like I really love doing that. Like I'm like one of those people who really love untying knots. Like
Oh, okay.
Like I used to do that a lot when I was a kid. Like people would not, I'm like, just give it to me. Okay. But anyways, yeah, I love problem solving, and I have like this interest with pipeline and systems, like just keeping things organized kind of thing. Like
Okay.
I love making little tools and whatnot to make like life better for an artist or for a designer. Though to be honest, for my entire career, I haven't been doing much scripting. Like
What?
I mean, like 'cause I'll do scripting, but like I would never call myself a programmer.
Right.
Like I would call myself either a scripter or like a script kiddie or something like that. Like Kismet is scripting. Like as far as logic is concerned, you're scripting, but it's still node based.
Okay.
So-
So you do it all in Kismet.
Yeah, like
A
for
lot of your
Unreal,
designing,
it was
okay.
like most of my scripting experience has been with Unreal, and that was Kismet, and that was like this node-based scripting language. I was able to carry on some lessons I learned from it, like certain things like not having continuous loops and like certain optimization things.
Right.
But I wouldn't be able to from Kismet now be able to jump on a C++ and know what the hell's going on,
Right.
kind of thing.
Well, you might be able to figure it out, just not write it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's definitely has helped me. I will agree to that. If I see someone else's code, I can start looking and be like, oh, I see what's going on.
Right.
I wasn't able to do that before I was messing around Kismet or anything. At
Okay.
all.
So all the projects you worked on were all in Unreal Engine.
This one I'm currently working on is on Unity 3D.
Okay.
And that's a really good choice because we were actually thinking about either which one we're going to do, Unreal Mobile or the Unity. But we chose Unity, and it's pretty cool editor. Like if I was even more technical than I am now, I would hands down choose Unity over Unreal. Like there's some downsides to it. Like Unreal already has a lot of features. You know, it has a lot of prepackaged features to make easier for artists and animators to be able to use it without needing much programmer help.
Right.
But with the Unity, it's like you have to build everything yourself. It's like this
Yeah.
past release, they just released LOD system. You know, so
Really?
before they never had it. So you'd always have to hack your LOD. You'd always have to make your LOD system
I didn't know that.
in Unity. Yeah, it was just recent, like last month or something. They released it or something.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't know
so it's pretty far behind from Unreal, but
Uh-huh.
it's so easy. It's still very easily accessible. It's like if you're familiar with Flash and you're familiar with Unreal, then it's like it's even easier to get to Unity because it's like you have your game object, you make a prefab out of it, then you just drag a script on it, and now that script will
Yeah.
work with that object, and then you have some public scripts that communicate with that, etc., etc. And that's much. It's like you just drag and drop, and you just add it, and you can script in JavaScript or C#. So it's much easier to get into, I think, because with Unreal, it's like I don't like. Have you heard any programmers talk about Unreal?
Actually, no. The people I've talked to so far, they're either programmers, like traditional, or they use Unity. Actually, I've never really talked to anyone who does Unreal and then has the other point of view.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. No one likes working on it. Like as far as programming, it's just because usually what I've seen happen on projects with Unreal. Which to answer your question, let's see, Medal of Honor. I was working on this project in Climax that was on PS3, but it never got released. Which was in Unreal. And I feel like I'm missing one. Oh, and Homefront.
Oh, that was Unreal.
Yeah, yeah, that was in Unreal as well. Which is funny. It was kind of using the same tech from Medal of Honor. Like,
Really?
yeah, I guess they just couldn't update their engine in time or something. That one was pretty interesting project. But anyways, yeah. So from all those projects that I've been on, when speaking to the programmers about Unreal, all of them have been like just constant complaints about the engine. And the main reason is because when you are just trying to optimize things for the PS3 and whatnot, you end up rewriting a lot of things about it. Like they have an animation system, but really you can't really use it, so you end up writing your own.
Oh,
of thing.
okay.
It's like you can use it like if you're making an FPS kind of game, like if you're making another Unreal kind of game, yeah, you can use it, you can get by.
But if you're trying to do like,
If you're just trying to go beyond it, like you can't.
like,
And you try to add on to their system, you realize it's just kind of like a mess, like the way they did things.
okay.
And I can understand, man. It's a giant freaking editor, and is it Epic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they worked on their other games too, Unreal Tournaments and whatnot.
Right.
What else do
But they do first-person shooters really well.
Gears of War. Yeah.
Specialize in that. I mean, it's great for that. But yeah, Unity is because I'm using Unity for indie game I'm doing right now.
Oh, cool. So,
So
you know.
yeah, I really like Unity because, well, first my game started off as a Xbox Live game, right? So we were doing it in XNA first, and then we did it in Unity because there's some stuff other things we wanted to do that I knew Unity could do really well. This was like this game started like 2 years ago. Then we decided to Connect was just coming out, or it just came out. So I'm like, let's do it for Connect. So my programmer was like looking into the Connect and
Cool. I know that. It's like, oh, it's like a new toy.
yeah, it's cool except for it's cool if it was a full-time job, but you know he programs like all day. So then he comes home and he says Connect's like really like you got to put a lot of work into it. You know, it's not that it's hard; it's just that it takes a lot. So we kind of abandoned that and we're like, all right, well let's put it on mobile. And the thing is, we never had to change it from Unity. We just kept it on Unity because it works with everything. So.
I know, that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, so we're like, all right, well let's just put it let's make it for iOS and all that. So that's the cool. Yeah,
iOS thing.
Just checkbox. Yeah, pretty much. That's cool. So now that you've been out of the game industry for how long? A year? Is it?
I've been out of it.
Like not working since you were at Game Mechanic Studio.
Oh no, it wasn't like 6 months. With my dad's company, it's a small office. You got my aunt, who's the secretary, and me, and then then the workers.
Yeah.
It's like, there's really no kind of the social aspect, the community aspect of it is just not there.
Okay.
It's like the mindset is completely different. Like it's not a creative workplace.
Yeah, it's just.
So people just go in, do job, gone.
Just factory.
Kind of yeah,
much,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So I couldn't stand that. So I went back, and it was a hell of a lot more fun. I'm learning. I'm definitely throughout this experience. I'm definitely finding out what I want to do.
That is funny. That is funny. You don't know until you start doing what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You're like, all right.
It's like, well, okay, yeah. I don't think I could do this forever without having to like drink myself on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And you'll get situations like that usually, like with crunching. It's like the drinks start flowing.
Right. So what is it that you want to do now? Like if you had like ideal position.
With this project, I was exposed to more ocean conservation organizations and more just green, like lifestyle, just treehugger.com, like that kind of communities, and kind of like I would say I'm inspired by it. Not so like, oh yeah, let's more donations kind of thing inspired, but more like it is possible to have a certain lifestyle where you're not completely reliant on money or oil or housing kind of thing. Like it's kind of not as easy and convenient yet, but that doesn't mean it can't be.
Right.
So it's like what my dream ideal kind of job would be with the talents that I have. I can make some sort of platform for communities to connect with each other, share information and resources, and kind of almost help each other. Yeah, like to the point where they could rely on each other. The could rely on each other part is like way in the future. Like,
right.
I wouldn't see anything like that happening. It's like I would have to, be part of organizations and do all that politics stuff to really. It's like anytime you want to deal with community or people, it's like politics come into play.
Yeah.
But just the system itself to build it would be really nice, and which is kind of why I'm like in my current job right now in a sense, because I'm working on the platform, the website for the artists, which we're calling makers, to create the content and submit. So they're using this platform to create content, to see what kind of content they can create. They'll create it, they'll submit it, they'll collaborate with each other. So if you're a modeler, you can ask for an animator for help on the platform itself, and then me with a couple colleagues of mine, we kind of moderate the whole place. So I'm really learning a lot about communicating through a site, just communicating instructions or a certain way to do things, and definitely found out like and this is obvious, but it was just really obvious through the platform. That through examples, like it was easier to communicate through examples than it was through images and text. Like we would go out of our way, make all these images, put all these little arrows, and like draw lines and whatnot, color it up, and be like, okay, this is what you got to do.
Right.
But it was, and most of the time they might get like half of it or something. But if you just like fix it up and be like, okay, make it like this. Right. And they're like, oh, they see it, they can look at it, they can rotate around it. It's like, it's a much different experience.
Right.
And I'm also learning a good amount on, as far as like what kind of features should you roll in. Like, cause it's like, I can't really have like a reward system until I have a tracking system.
Right.
Right. I can't really have collaboration until I have some sort of messaging on the platform.
Yeah.
So it's like working on something that is gonna help with the collaboration is gonna fall apart and fail because the messaging system was never even set up to begin with. So it's like you have like stable. It's like building at every level. So you make it stable first in the first level, then you move up to the next level.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I never really developed like that before, because I never worked in a project like this exactly. It was always very personal projects, and I'm just like, so I'd always like work in a straight line or something like that. Like, oh, I'm working on this page. Okay, I need this. Now I'm working on this page. I need this, and then go through all the details on that page, and then move on to the next one.
Yeah. But
it's like you gotta like work at it in strides, and like everything you develop, every feature you develop has to be set up in such a way that it could be expanded.
Yeah.
Later on.
Very modular.
Yeah, modular. Yeah.
So did you figure out that people didn't like people learn best by examples? Did you do user tests and things like that, or you had people come in?
Yeah, it was, well, no, not even, it was live testing. It was
it's not even testing.
it was pretty much testing, but it just wasn't very formal. It wasn't like, hey, come here and check out the platform and I'll watch what you're doing. It's more like, okay, here's what it is, try it out. And then they'll fail here, or they'll work out it there. Okay, I gotta fix it, etc., etc.
Okay.
And then later on, we'll ask them for feedback. Oh, what do you think was missing the most out of this, etc.
Okay.
So we are keeping constant communication with the makers, which I think is going to be really important for this platform, because it's eventually it's going to be like an online studio, where any artist around will come in, just join this project, make a couple models, leave, come back, join this other project, make a couple models. And then all the projects are going to be set up in such a way to where your content is going to be bought. So it's like the blue right now, it's like the ocean, but in order for you to populate the ocean, you have to buy the fish, you have to buy the scenes. Okay. And all those cost money. So when you buy it, a percentage will go to the people who made it, a percentage will go to the ocean organization, and a percentage will go to us.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And I'm so excited because we're actually going to set up payments. Hopefully, May.
Payments? Oh, so people like pay every month?
Yeah. So it's gonna be set up like that. It's gonna go straight to your PayPal account.
Ah, okay.
So I mean, you could essentially make one thing, leave it there, and then just realize, hey, every once in a while I'm getting like $10 in my account. Like I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It's like it occurs with each purchase too. So, and we're trying to hit a huge audience, worldwide. That's what we're shooting for. Oh, okay. And it's something easily you could download online. Runs on the PC and the Mac, and it's widely accessible. Like the target audience is like, it's not, the target audience isn't everybody, but it's such like a easily approachable like concept. And it's the ocean. Right. Well, yeah. Everybody. It's like, yeah, a lot of people like the ocean, so we got a pretty good wide margin of people to attract and potentially purchase the fish.
Right. So it's going live. Like it's releasing May 4th.
May 4th is our official public launch, and we are actually. Is this going to be released? Is this?
Yeah, I'll put this one first.
Okay, awesome. So, May 4th is our official public launch that we are celebrating in New York. Oh, so we're, cool. Times Square, I don't know how the heck we got the hookups, but it's pretty impressive for like a tiny little indie company to have this kind of opportunity, but they're going to give us the two large screens in Times Square, the ones on the side, one on NASDAQ, one on the other side.
Cool.
And for 5 minutes and 30-minute intervals throughout the day, we're going to be showing the blue. And to celebrate the launch and to celebrate this and celebrate our goal of lighting up all the screens in the world, we're going to celebrate right in Times Square, and all the, I think, okay, don't quote me on all, because I don't know if all of them said yes yet, but all the organizations that are going to help us, like the nonprofit organizations like OPS, Wild Aid, Ocean Elders, Scripps Institute of Oceanography, they're going to be there at the event too. So, and anyone who goes to the event will be able to participate in it. And we're kind of going to make a special thing that if you come to the event and you download this iPhone app that we made for it. A fish. If you purchase a fish, it'll swim from your phone to the screen.
Oh, that's cool.
On the it's a big screen, and you see it. And then in the end of the event, like everyone will get a gift in the. I'm not gonna say what the gift is, but everyone will get a gift in the end of the event. So it's gonna be May 4. It's in Times Square, and I don't know the time yet, but if anyone is in that area and wants to check it out, it's going to be, we're probably, it's best just to go to theblue.com.
Theblue.com.
Yeah, theblue.com, because we got a news feed right up there, so they'll announce it what time it's going to happen.
Right.
But they have that flyer for event on there, but it's the blue, but without the E.
Okay.
So it's the
THEBLU.
Yeah, THEBLU, the bleu. The bleu.
So I'm sure that like fish from your phone to the screen, there's a lot of problem solving in there.
Yeah. I think we've had like 2 engineers, pretty much dedicated to that section, and we've been working with the tech guys that handle those screens at Times Square like for a few months now.
Wow.
But it's still going to be a pretty crazy push because it's like a week and a half away. And we're still implementing features. Wow. So we're all crunching now.
Yeah.
Oh, what's also funny is so at the Times Square event we're also going to be announcing the schools that are working with us.
But I think nothing really prepares you for that kind of crazy technology mixed with art, mixed with the design crunch schedule like the game industry. So you've had like some good training for this, this kind of, event.
Yeah, that's true. Because like, it's like you could plan all you want, but bugs always, creep up.
That's so weird. I don't think I've ever worked on a project that didn't end like
they said they were gonna end
near catastrophe. Like, oh no, we gotta like finish this.
Or everyone's just like running in the finish line. And audio's being thrown in the last minute.
Yeah, like it's so weird. Even now, like I just released my 3rd Facebook game, and we even like scheduled for like potential crunch, so we kind of planned it all out ahead. We're like, cool. So now I think I have I'm about a month away from being done with the project, but we're considering overhauling this one system that isn't working like we wanted, and I'm like, oh no, because I only have a month to like rebalance the game essentially. And I'm like, oh, we were doing so well too. There was no crunch at all, and now it's like, jeez.
Yeah.
But I guess that's one thing to be ready for, is just eventual crunch.
Well, one thing I wish somehow production as messages can come out to them and they can understand. One thing about it is when you do stuff like that, you have to understand that the second time around, it's not going to be as polished as the first time around,
Right.
Like every time that does happen, it's like they're like, oh, we got to change. They'll change a direction. And it's like, oh, now you got to rearrange your level to fit whatever direction this is.
Yeah.
It's like, but now you have to work like crunch twice or 3 times as hard because they didn't give you the amount of time it would need to actually get back to the level of quality you had before.
Yeah. And it's weird. It's because like polish is the thing that really makes the game shine, Like, you have a lot of functions working, but without polish, it doesn't really give that feedback that all the cool moments I think are done in polish, you know, and it's weird that every game ends with the polish being pushed out of the way, you know. That's kind of weird. So if you could give advice to people, maybe they're just graduating or in high school who want to get in the game industry, what would you tell them?
Oh, that depends on what kind of job they're trying to get in the game industry.
I think a lot of kids, well, from my experience, when I was teaching, they kind of just were, I'm going to make games, and then they would just go to school, you know, to AI, and then like, but without even knowing about it. So that's what I've known, is that people just want to go in and just make games. Like there's you just do everything or something, and technically you do. Sometimes you do everything.
That's interesting, because I was actually going to kind of suggest that kind of thing. Not that you do everything, but my advice would be that we're way beyond the years of like specialized talent.
Right, that's true.
It's like especially for like artists, like if you just say you're an environment artist and that's it, it's like you better be a pretty freaking amazing environment artist, and
Yeah.
you're gonna end up being a lead for like 2 outsourcing houses or something like that.
Right.
You know.
So you do have to know production also as well.
Yeah. Production for sure. If you wanna stay in the game industry, you have to know production.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all gonna go up like that. But so the thing I was mentioning about the knowing a lot of different things is the indie scenes. You know, getting more and more popular.
Right.
And it's still pretty good for you to have a like, okay, so let's say you're like, yeah, you want to do game design. You should definitely have something up that people can play and download, and so you can have some numbers and some feedback and some test results and whatnot to help you in your line of work. When you get an interview and whatnot, then you could talk about all your experience that you had on that project and whatnot. And if you worked on other people on it, it's even better.
Right.
And it's even more possible nowadays for a small team to be successful.
Yeah.
It's like before, it's forget about it. You have to work for Activision. You have to work for EA.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. They're kind of like the gatekeepers for your content reaching anyone. But now you could reach anyone. But
it's still like saturated though. It's like you put an app out there. It's not gonna people aren't gonna be like, oh, that's something new, cool.
Yeah,
you still have to have something that's gonna be viral or
it's gonna resonate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And give a reason for people to want to use it and play with each other with it.
Yeah, even then, I still think you'd still expect like your first project and second to go awry, you know, and because I don't think anyone's ever come out with their first thing being crazy, you know, success. It's always like the Angry Birds guy, that was like their 20-somethingth game that they did. So like, so I think my advice would be to get your first project like done and out of the way, and like learn everything from it, and then yeah.
Even when you're running a business, like even if you like, let's say you got some sort of contract deal from a publisher, this is like your first gig, your first game that's gonna be released, but that still applies.
Yeah.
You know, it's still something you should you should use as a learning experience rather than this thing's gonna make me all the money that I want. It's gonna save my company and blah 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 blah.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess that's a good point. Like when you treat it just as a learning experience, there's a lot more. First, you won't be upset when it doesn't take off, but second, you'll actually learn a lot more if you're just looking at it as a learning experience rather than this went wrong or this went right and be upset about it. You know, you're kind of like, oh, that's interesting. That's what happens when you outsource to these people or something.
And for artists, I would recommend them to also be technical a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna hire an artist. Like if I choose between 2 artists, I'm definitely gonna hire the one that also happens to know how to scan or rig, or also happens to know how to use the editor.
Yeah. That's true.
It's such as a given. There is no way for you to be an artist that's not technical unless you are, amazing concept artist or at such a high position where you don't really need to be touching the editor anymore or anything like that. And then for programming, that's still hot money. That's still people all still need programmers, and we're still looking for programmers. It's really hard to find a really good programmer. It is because it's like yeah, sure, you might know how to program, but that's not enough. You know, you need to build it in such a way where you're not gonna go back and rewrite code, and you're not making like special case code, or you know, it can
Right.
be reused somewhere else. You know,
Yeah,
still.
it's not, you can't hard code everything. It's got to be very modular. Yeah, yeah. Made the mistake of I did an indie game 3 years ago. No, 4 years ago. And basically, I had the programmer work the same time we were designing the game. So he was programming one thing, and our design needs change. So I definitely learned a lot there because he was doing special case stuff because we didn't know what we were gonna need until we were done designing, and then plus he designed the editor, and the designers didn't design it. So he's like, "Oh yeah, click on this, and it opens this window. When this window opens, click on this, and then you copy this from this." And it was the worst user interface ever. So yeah, definitely, you know, I think my advice for a designer would be to know about art pipeline and know about like a little bit how to write a technical document, just so you can communicate with the programmer so you guys can like talk the same language, you know.
That'll really help. And art pipeline will help too, just because it's just really great to be aware, just because you know, like when you're asking for things, you know what you're asking for.
Yeah, and then you know how long it'll take, and then you could set it in your budget or whatever.
Yeah, what your example also proves, like another good lesson is that like don't you know, program for features that you don't know you need yet, kind of thing. Like, you should only do the very bare minimum features, and then you work with it and you're like, oh, okay, we need to add an extra, you know, I don't know, dampening on the rotation or something like that. I don't, whatever you need.
Yeah, I definitely I've done that a few times, feature creeped, and my programmer doesn't like it at all. Like, you know, it'd be cool if we had a swimming level.
No, that wouldn't. It wouldn't be cool at all.
Come on.
I'm starting to feel that. Like any features that come up, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's not too much you can do, and the programmer won't do it. All right, well, thanks a lot. And the website to go to is theblu.com, and you could download the app, and what is it called? The screensaver? Or?
Oh yeah, no, it's just called the Blue.
Okay, so it's called the Blue. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
The product itself is called the Blue, and the art platform thing that I was talking about this whole time with like the students working on it is called the Maker Media Platform.
Okay.
And you can still access that from theblu.com. It's just on the bottom, like become a maker.
Okay, cool. As usual, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, like very busy schedule.
Yeah, I gotta go back to work right now, actually.
Oh wow. Are you local or are you?
No, I'm gonna go to Venice.
Oh wow. Jeez Louise. Okay. So thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk about your experience in the game industry, and good luck with your project.
No problem. This was fun. This is my first podcast, by the way. So thank you for interviewing me.
All right. Thanks for listening, and feel free to ask me questions on my Formspring account at formspring.me/joemethod. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/joemethod. And I will answer your questions either on Formspring in a tweet on this podcast, or if it requires more visuals, I will answer it in a YouTube video. Thanks for listening.